turn.
Good
Mr.
evening.
President.
Good evening. Good evening, Senator.
Thank you very much, Tony. Mr. President, in deference to the chairman of the MOPC, I tried to write down my question. First of all, may I thank and congratulate MOPC through its chairman, Mr. Tony Lopez, for organizing this timely multi-sectoral forum. And may I say how honored and delighted we all are to listen to Your Excellency after your highly successful visits, first to Indonesia and Singapore, and then to the United States, where you addressed the 77th session of the UN General Assembly and met with US President Joe Biden, other foreign leaders, and numerous American business and investment groups. The UN General Debate was dominated by fierce denunciations of the Russian invasion of Ukraine and passionate calls for severe punishment of the offender. Your Excellency, however, made it abundantly clear that the Philippines will be a friend to all and an enemy to none, whether in this conflict or in any other. This is a universal aspiration rooted in the gospel, a stark reminder that war always destroys and peace alone delivers. My question, Mr. President, is this. Having defined the ideal, will you now want to operationalize your exalted foreign policy vision so that the world would have a working model to follow? And if that opens up a diplomatic corridor for sovereign nations to cooperate with greater zeal for the elimination of war and the threat of war, would you be disposed to lead such an undertaking? At an appropriate time, will you want to take it up with, say, your colleagues in ASEAN and in the non-aligned movement, of which we have been a member since 1993? One small related question, Mr. President. The UN Secretary General recently said that so far humanity has been...
Kit, can you reduce your question to 5 words? What exactly are you asking? What is your exact question?
Yeah, I asked the first question. That would His Excellency want to operationalize his exalted foreign policy vision so that the world will have a model to follow? And if that opens up a diplomatic corridor for many nations to work together to
So you're asking the President if he wants to be the leader in peacemaking negotiations?
Yes.
Okay.
In regard to that, I believe that it is, especially for the regional concerns that we have, that it is not sufficient for one country or one leader or one head of state to lead the. There will be leaders, there will be followers, and we hope to be one. We hope to be the part of the leading, the ones that are leading the effort for peace. That we concentrate. In the past, in my discussions with the different leaders, we spoke very much, of course, of the situation here in Southeast Asia, in Asia, in regards to the intensifying non-violent conflict, but push and pull between China and the United States over Taiwan. And again, we were reminded 2 days ago of what we may have forgotten a little bit, that North Korea remains a threat the peace in the region. And it's my belief that we must strengthen our organizations. And specifically in this case, I'm talking about ASEAN. And I think ASEAN can do more than it has done thus far. And in fact, in the upcoming ASEAN conferences that are coming up in November, I intend to propose several actions that ASEAN can take specific to the different conflicts that we are seeing in our region. And if the Philippines can play a part, then that would certainly be a good thing. We have the issue of Myanmar and the Rohingya situation, and we have as yet been unable to bring Myanmar to the table. And I think it's time to put forward some concrete proposals on what we can do to, at the very least, bring the at least representatives of the military government to the table so we can begin to talk about these things. I'm a great believer in engagement. And I think once the lines of communications have closed, then any hope of a compromise has ended. And so let us continue with that. But again, we must present a united front. And that is something that I believe is the best way forward, simply because the moral suasion, at the very least, of several member countries of ASEAN is probably, in many ways, more effective than just a single country. Although we don't dismiss bilateral contacts, bilateral negotiations, multilateral negotiations outside of ASEAN, within ASEAN. Again, I think we should continue to try and push our member neighbors to present that united front and to move that united front forward so that we can say that ASEAN, as a political, geopolitical aggregation, economic aggregation, has certainly shown that it has a function to do in the normal scheme of the geopolitics, but when crisis comes, that they come to the fore. And that, again, is something wherein I believe the Philippines can play a large part. But in fact, in my speech in the United Nations, I already proposed and I said that it would be we need to abandon the idea of nuclear weapons, of having a stockpile of nuclear weapons as a deterrence. And we should remove that kind of Cold War thinking already from our geopolitics and remove lower the stockpiles and make them, and finally at some point, to remove from the face of the earth any nuclear weapons. And unfortunately, 2-3 days later, we hear the announcement from Russia that they are contemplating using tactical nuclear weapons. This brings us back immediately to the problem with North Korea, because North Korea is the only country in the region who has threatened the use of nuclear weapons. And if Russia uses tactical nuclear, hindi na bali yung strategic nuclear weapons, but if they use tactical nuclear weapons in the Ukraine, and it becomes acceptable that tactical nuclear weapons are a conventional weapon, then that might encourage other nuclear powers to think in that direction and to now actually use the unthinkable. They start using their nuclear stockpiles. So we have a very important part to play in that, because we have a great interest. It must be a subject of central concern in our foreign policy and in the defense of the nation. in the Philippines. So I do not think we have a choice. We must play a leadership role because it is in our interest. And if we do not do it, we are not doing our jobs as the protectors of our country, of our state, of our territory, of our people. If we do not take that leadership role, I think it has been thrust upon us. And it is in good Filipino, as a good Filipinos, we face up to challenges and we face up to responsibilities. So we will face up to this one as well.
Thank
By
you
the
very
way,
much, Mr. President.
by the way, Mr. President,
I think
when
that
they
was
say
very strong,
tactical
yes.
nuclear weapon, that's a bomb greater than Hiroshima or Nagasaki. And it's only tactical.
Thank you very much.
Tony.
Next question from Ivan Mayrena. Thank you very much.